it's a pleasure of mine to be able to have Christina Anderson from the North Carolina Department of Health Human Services. Christina, welcome to the program. Thanks so much for taking time to be here with us and to share your insights. Those of the in the audience that don't know who you are, I'm sure we'd love to hear a quick 60-second introduction about who you are.
Yeah. So hello, everyone. Good morning. Happy to be here, Jerry. So a little bit about me. I have about 7 years of experience in community organizing, health policy, and executive communications regarding mental health and public health. So I'm really excited to be here. I am originally from the Heartland, St. Louis, Missouri, but I'm currently based in Brooklyn, New York, and I work with the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services. I do a lot of their program direction, executive strategy related to our health disparities work. So, yeah, excited to be here.
No, wonderful, and really, really important work that you're doing with Health and Human Services over there, albeit based over here in New York. But we'd definitely love to hear about some of the common mental health challenges that are faced by women as they climb the ladders in the various professional fields that that you've had a viewpoint on.
Yeah, absolutely. So prior to here, I sat in corporate America. And so I've had a little bit of everything in my journey, but based on statistics and then also lived experience, women are encountering a lot of things, right? Stress and burnout, anxiety disorders, depression. A lot of times it may look like imposter syndrome or hits on self-esteem when you're climbing that ladder. There can be opportunities, unfortunately, for workplace harassment, different ends of trauma, whether that could be from people on your team, external sources, colleagues, the corporate or government, or even not for profit culture. I know this is more like digital AI and tech. So every spectrum, of course, unfortunately, a lot of women professionals are getting hit with different things. There also have been reports of eating disorders. There can be maternity and parenting conflicts. So, trying to figure out how to be a working woman professional and making sure that you're showing up your best self while also having the weight of life and different facets on you as a woman. And then, of course, some of the career advancement stress. So, I know for me, a lot of times I've been in rooms where I was not only the only woman, but also the only Black woman. And so trying to figure out how to navigate those spaces while being your authentic self, while also really just, not so being so the first, but figuring it out, Jerry. That's, those are some of the things that women definitely face from all backgrounds.
No, yeah, thank you so much for shedding some light on that and really, really pointing out some of those things to really take into perspective. When it comes to some of those challenges faced by women, and of course, from your personal perspective there. And I think one of the key words I think that comes to mind with that is resilience.
Yeah.
And I'd like you to talk a little bit more about sort of how resilience sort of plays a part and serves as also a double-edged sword, in effect, for women from diverse backgrounds like yourself,
Yeah.
such as like navigating career challenges and, of course, more importantly, maintaining mental wellness as well.
Yeah, of course. So let's first kind of start off by defining it, right? So resilience is basically the definition of having the ability to bounce back. And so there was a study out of the an International Journal of Environmental Research about 2 years ago. And the findings really highlighted more of that diverse background breakdown of what resilience looked like among a population of women from different backgrounds. So on average, women who reported higher resilience were actually younger in career, had fewer stressful life events, and reported access to more resources. So that looked like psychological resources, therapy, a group community, but then also non-psychological resources where it looked like maybe you had a strong support system, maybe you really related to faith-based organizations, mainly having that access to resources. And then they stratified by race and ethnicity to see if there were any differences. And they found that Black and or African American women actually reported the highest level of resilience, followed by Hispanic, Latina women identifying non-Hispanic white, and then Asian and or Pacific Islander women. And so kind of to answer your question, right, the women that were identifying with populations more within the margins of society had higher rates of resilience. But what does that imply, right? That implies also a higher level of adversity to overcome. The ability to bounce back means that you're having a lot of adversity. And so it's good because this is what companies and organizations are asking for. They're like, we want you to be resilient as a leader, helping execute business decisions. But then on the flip side, how are we also supporting women from all backgrounds and especially within those margins that they're not getting burnt out and coming into spaces where we're really asking them to, really be workhorses in a way. If you're having higher levels of adversity your entire lifespan, is it fair of employers to be asking people from different backgrounds to continue that resilience? So it's a double-edged sword, right? Because resilience helps you be a leader. It shapes you to be, more assertive, more confident. But then at times, sometimes people don't have the resources to always bounce back. So it's really something to consider.
Yeah, I think you really brought some really good points there. I don't think I've even thought and considered it in that way that, those, women coming from those backgrounds that have proved to be more resilient in that way, do find themselves maybe challenged even more so than, other women from other backgrounds and things like that as well. So that's a really great analogy and great perspective to really to bring to light, around that and stuff. Now, when it comes to, obviously the sort of social expectations and the demands of career advancements for women, within the workplace and, within society, how in from your again perspective and from your viewpoint, how can women prioritize what's really important around self-care amidst all those sort of demands and daily things that they have to struggle with?
Absolutely. So to start off, I am a big person of taking that PTO and taking that time really before you need it, right, Jerry? I think especially as a woman in the workplace, if you are very driven, which I would assume most of us are, you're always trying to think 10 steps ahead, but not at the detriment of yourself. So really making sure that you're taking those self-care days, you're taking that time before you necessarily need it, right? Another thing I would recommend and something that I'm really passionate about and have done myself, investing into yourself as a woman. That means investing into your self-esteem, whether that is making sure your community is aligned with you, doing professional development, making sure that, you're taking care of yourself from a healthy perspective, maybe going on a walk during that lunch break, or maybe not taking a working lunch, maybe setting those really core boundaries at work. Another thing I would say definitely is making sure that you have your internal locus, your reason as to why you're going this route in your career. I think a lot of times, especially as very driven women, we're all like, okay, I have this goal. I want to complete this leadership role by this date. But what is your why? Making sure that it's really aligned to what I would say your purpose, because that is what will keep you going in those very challenging times. And it'll help you maintain the sense of who you are, essentially. And then also considering the women who came before you. So, I'm always thinking of women who paved the way for me, whether it is personally and my family, colleagues that I interact with on a regular basis, people that I haven't met. I think a lot of times in these spaces, a lot of us are coming from backgrounds where all we may have known is a full-time salaried role or maybe not. However, considering everyone at a humanity level, right? How am I making sure that I'm amplifying women who may not have the same access to resources as I do? Are they in the rooms that I'm in? Do they have a sponsor? Thinking about all of those different dynamics is really what is going to help you. And then also being a lifelong learner. So, you should always be learning. You should always be reading. You should always be, in the know, especially in the current times that we're in, with everything that is currently evolving, especially in digital health.
Yeah, no, I think some really sage advice there for all the women that are watching the program today, and definitely a massive list of different avenues for women to really prioritize self-care amidst the evolving demands of both the workplace and also society as well. Christina, thanks so much for coming on the program. I'm sorry we don't have more time to really delve into more of your insights around all the things that you are seeing, from your viewpoint. If you would like to sort of stay on in the background, I think there are some questions coming in from the audience that we welcome you to answer in the chat. And those of you in the chat and the audience, of course, if you do want to connect with Christina and learn more about the important work that she is doing, we put her LinkedIn details in the chat so you can connect with her after the session today. But Christina, we really appreciate your time coming on, and we'd love to have you back on the program again.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks.
Thanks so much, Christina.